another perfect frame.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Okay, let's get this over with. So here's the list, and I'm sure you all have problems with it. Don't worry, I share your concern. While you're likely weeping over the absence of the Eye of Timaeus, I'm mad it's missing extravagance. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Dark Magician is Yami's ace monster from the first series anime. Since there has not been a single new cultural development since the year 2002, and because we seem doomed to repeat the last 20 years over and over again as part of some sort of Vonnegution timequake, it's still getting support. Just as Game Freak can't stop thinking of new and innovative ways to squeeze blood from Geodudes, Konami won't stop printing Dark Magician support until the Dark Sage retrain is Tier 0. The latest affronts to Ra appear in Legendary Duelists 6, alongside hero support and new Karibo cards. Apparently the theme of this pack is archetypes that really don't need any more help. Like all DM support, the cards that appear in this set are extremely hit or miss. Of the several we've been given, there are 4 good ones. Magician's Souls, which I've already examined in a much more competent deck several weeks ago. Faithful Servant, a searcher that doesn't require your normal summon, but does require you to open Magician's Souls or Apprentice. Dark Magic Secrets, a quick play fusion spell, and its most effective target, the Dark Magicians, a monster that gives the otherwise Feast or Famine deck a little bit of repeatability. Since the deck's problem in the past has been a reliance on finding its 2-card combos and retaining them on the field, more consistency cards and retention enablers seem like what the deck is missing. Before we get into the meat of the list, however, let's address the elephant in the room, Dragoon and Predaplant Verte. Now, if you watched my stream, you saw about 2 hours of activating Verte's effect and waiting for my opponent to finish reading Dragoon, followed by a slam of the surrender button. I'm not including those cards in this list for 2 reasons. Firstly, they're not confirmed for the TCG anytime soon. I'd hate to make the equivalent of a needle fiber fan cam only for Verte to remain region-locked until TCG takes off its Jaden-shaped blinders and rebans super polymerization. Secondly, Dark Magician likely isn't even the best deck for them. Verte only requires 2 monsters, and there's tons of decks more than willing to play a single Garnet for a dingus like Dragoon, especially ones with more effective swarming potential. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our Dark Magicians, Arcana art and all. After that are the Little Magicians, 3 Apprentice Illusion, 3 Magician's Rod, and 3 Magician's Souls. I'm not on the Dark Magician girl cards, firstly because I don't believe in women, and secondly because they're not strong enough of a payoff. For hand traps, we're on 3 Ash and unfortunately 3 non-negotiable Phantasme. You need dragons to consistently summon Dragon Knight. For spells, I hope you appreciate my restraint. We're on 3 Allure of Darkness, 3 Pot of Desires, 3 Faithful Servant, 3 Dark Magic Secrets, 3 Dark Magical Circle, and 1 searchable Dark Magic attack that I refuse to cut no matter how bad I know it is! For traps, we're on 3 Magician's Navigation, another contentious choice that I prefer because it contributes to a high DM density for Circle and is a fantastic Apprentice or Souls pitch, and 3 Eternal Soul. In the extra deck, we are on Dragon Knight, Amulet Dragon, Dark Magicians, followed by an Xyz lineup of Big Eye and Eben, and a Link suite of Boral Sword, an extremely necessary BLS, Nightmare's Phoenix, Unicorn, and Cerberus, Daybreaker, Defender, Wee Witch, Link Spider, and Imduck. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Monarchs. I'm showcasing this set for 2 reasons. Firstly, it shows the flexibility and functionality of Dark Magic Secrets, and secondly, because my opponent plays the Monarchs Erupt and I want to flex on my comments section. Our opponent's going first. They're going to lead with a copy of a Dia. That'll special in a Dios from deck. They'll activate the effect for an extra normal summon, then Tribute Summon an Erebus. They shuffle back a Magician's Souls, unfortunate, back into our deck, followed by a Pantheism activation and a Monarchs Erupt set. For turn, we draw a copy of Eternal Soul. Pretty good. We'll activate Circle. Ooh, that's a pretty good get. We'll discard the Faithful Servant in order to special summon a copy of Apprentice, and when they go to negate her effect, we will get it off the field with Secrets. We can then crash our monster into our opponents. They Prime Monarch at the end of main phase, so we're able to draw a Magician's Souls, special a Dark Magician, and banish that Prime Monarch as well. Do it at end step, folks. Our opponent's going to activate a Dios for Idea, but oh my goodness, without the ability to activate her effect, they're dead in the water. Well, we'll activate Eternal Soul and banish that set monster at end step before they pass it back to us. We have a 3rd Dark Magician in our hand, of course, so we'll special summon that, and they'll concede. Our second match is up against Melodious, because apparently, during the filming of this episode, every single deck in the universe got a Link monster! And still no Link one for Phantasm Spiral. Upsetting. Our opponent's going first, and their hand includes an Aria, so there is going to have to be some shenanigans in this game. They're going to start by normal summoning the Aria and special summoning a copy of Sonata from hand before they link summon a Bloom. They'll use Bloom's effect to get a Shopina and a Mozarta from their deck, and then they'll activate those effects in order to special the Aria back. So none of their monsters can be targeted or destroyed by battle, but that Bloom only has 1,000 attack. We'll activate Rod's effect, they'll Ash, which used to be an indefensible choke point, now it's not that big of a deal. We'll activate Apprentice Illusion's effect and go to battle phase. We are pretty far off lethal, so no reason to get tricky in combat yet. Instead, we'll just get in, leaving them at 4,900, setting 2, and passing it back. Our opponent will draw for turn. The first thing they need to do is get this Bloom out of their Link zone. They'll use Shopina's effect, then summon a Sonata before making Boral Sword. Uh-oh! They're going to Monster Reborn the Shopina and use the effect again. Oh, goodness, with a Toy Vendor, this is looking quite bad. They'll attack into our copy of Rod. Now it's time to use Apprentice Illusion Magician's effect. They'll wipe our board, but they can't activate the effect of Boral Sword Dragon because of restrictions. At end step, we'll activate Magician's Navigation, and I think we have this. We'll activate Apprentice Illusion Magician's effect, then draw for turn another copy of Secrets. We really only need the one. We'll attack. This will prompt the Boral Sword activation. We'll activate Secrets to go to Dark Magician's, attack, and then in damage step, use the effect of Apprentice Illusion to get in for lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Salamangreat. They're also going first. One of these days we're going to win a die roll, I promise. Our hand is pretty good, especially for going second. Phantasme is quite strong against Salamangreat. Let's see if it's enough. Our opponent's going to lead with, what else? A Salamangreat Foxy, which finds off the top. Oh, a Gazelle. They always seem to have it. They'll link summon a Baylynx and use its effect. We'll activate Phantasme, and they'll activate Gazelle. We'll special summon the Phantasme, and ooh, find an Ash Blossom. They'll activate the Gazelle's effect. I neglect to Ash here because I'm ready to Ash the Mirage Stalio that never shows up. Don't hesitate, folks. We'll lead with a copy of Dark Magical Circle. They don't Ash it. We're going to activate the effect of Magician's Souls, and then the effect of Dark Magical Circle. They'll Rage to destroy our circle, but we'll Secrets out our board for a Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, which of course protects our spell. We are going to get the Banish, then we'll activate the effect of Apprentice Illusion, but oh, dang it, they have the Solemn Strike and the Ash for the Allure. Okay, well, that's our hand. They're going to activate Salamangreat Circle. We'll activate Ash, so we have one turn to find something relevant. Let's see what we draw off the top. Ooh, that's a good one, but they have the Ash for us. I guess it's only fair, trading Ashes here. They draw for turn a Salamangreat monster, which gets in, but doesn't do a whole lot else. We do still have a singular turn, but we need something amazing. Apprentice Illusion is good, but requires another card in our hand. We'll pass it back to our opponent, and they find a Foxy, finally, which means this game is likely over. It's confirmed once I see the will off the top. Well, at the very least, that was a lot more back and forth than I expected. For game 2, we're finally going first, for the first time, and our hand is pretty good. We should be able to make this work. We're going to lead with a copy of Dark Magical Circle. We find off the top a copy of Faithful. We'll activate Faithful, set 2, and pass. It's not fantastic, but it's not particularly bad either. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Pot of Desires, and I can't pass up ashing the +1. They have a Called by the Grave, though, so it doesn't matter. Off the top, they find a Monster Reborn in a Roar. They'll go Foxy into Baylynx, and they'll activate the effect of Foxy to destroy our copy of Circle. They'll Exceed summon a copy of Mirage Stalio, getting a Jack Jaguar from deck. They are popping all the way off. They'll activate Jack Jaguar's effect. They haven't Reincarnation summoned yet, so they'll use their first Heat Leo activation. We'll activate Magician's Navigation in response, getting an Apprentice and a Dark Magician. Apprentice triggers, of course. And then they'll go into a second Heat Leo, prompting the activation of the Secrets from us. We'll go into a Dark Magician's. At the very least, we're not dead here. Okay, we draw for turn. It's a Rod. That's a good one. We'll activate Faithful Servant. Then we'll activate Rod's effect. That will prompt the Roar from our opponent. The Rage is the only thing left. We'll activate the Dark Magician's effect, and we'll Magician's Nav the Rage. So we actually made it into our own battle phase, and we'll get to eat our opponent's board, save for the single Heat Leo. We'll pass it back to our opponent because I am not feeling gutsy enough to go for this Allure. They'll go into Foxy. They'll special a Spinny. They'll go into a Mirage Stalio. We'll Ash the Mirage Stalio, and finally our Ash is online again. They're going to activate Jack Jaguar, and then link summon a Sunlight Wolf. They'll activate Mirage Stalio's effect, putting back the Dark Magicians, resetting the Roar, and then using Sunlight Wolf's effect for a Rage. God, we just can't compete with this engine! They'll pass it back to us. What do we draw for turn? But a Dark Magical Circle. Okay, we'll activate Allure. That will prompt the Roar from our opponent, but unfortunately when we activate the Dark Magical Circle, they reveal the set Rage. That looks like it is going to be the end of the game. So we're back with the deck, and I can freely admit this is the best I've felt about Dark Magicians since Inov format. Now let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. Souls and Faithful are exactly what the deck was lacking. Previously, the enormous target on Rod's head was responsible for about 90% of your losses. Now, it's easy to find the spells you need without a necessary normal summon. 2. The Dark Magicians is really good, both as a card and from a card design perspective. It's a tacit admission that DM isn't ever going to be able to compete in card advantage, so it allows the deck to have 2 draw steps akin to Spellbook Tower. Its synergy with Faithful and OTK potential are just icing on the cake. And 3, its linear game plan is surprisingly strong. In a format where everything resists destruction, Dingirsu, Colossus, the Striker spells, targeted banishing is a power play many decks can't compete with. And the cons. 1. Unfortunately, the aforementioned play is all the deck does. Yes, it's unique and powerful, but no, it's not going to be able to stop a deck that doesn't care. 2. Despite Rod's resilience, Eternal Soul is still a huge liability. You can't play without it, and it's not exactly safe to sit under when so many players are packing Cosmic. And 3. It's expensive. I mean, obviously, if you are pledged to plunge into DM, you're not concerned about playability, but it's a rough pick to ask a Gen 1er to blow $600 on this Tier 13 pile. All in all, the new support undoubtedly resolves a problem with Dark Magician, but it doesn't give it the tools to compete in a metagame that has totally eclipsed it, at least until they release Verte. So that's that. While I appreciate all of my viewers, a special thanks to my patrons, especially Tyler Slacks, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Mika Reichman, Distrin, Lucas Geerdes, Adam Trevino, 2nd, Lieutenant Labcoat, Fighting Feng Wong, Meatmoto27, Burrito Man 93, Adrian Bra, Adam Sunquist, Isaac Jackson, and Donnie Fillerup. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be part of the process, follow me on Twitch as well. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.